All right, so if we could just open up a new blank document to work with. I'm doing a horizontal letter document. So what we're going to do is play around with the pen tool today. You might notice that there's a paintbrush tool and a pencil tool and all that, but we're going to just focus on the pen tool. So you can hit P on your keyboard, or you can just select the pen tool itself. And what I want you to notice, and just kind of follow along here, is I just want you to go ahead and click, and then click, 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 and you can make any sort of straight edged shape you want right here. Okay? Once you reach the end, you're going to go back. So if you reach the end of your shape, you're going to notice that there's a little circle that pops up next to the pen tool icon on your mouse, and that just means that it's going to complete the shape. So now it's all done. And that's how you can make a straight edged shape here. But let's say you want to make a curved shape. So we'll go ahead and just hit delete and delete that whole thing. Delete, delete, get rid of it. So if I want to make some curves, what I can do is click and hold. And now I'm going to notice that these little handles appear. And these handles help determine the direction of the curve. So I'm just going to go ahead and click, drag, pull. And now when I let go, I have this curve that's kind of appearing. And those handles sort of help you learn how dramatic the curve is going to be. So I can click, pull, click and pull, and make some sort of curvy shape. So just go ahead and play around with clicking and pulling to create some sort of curved shape. Let's say you want to make a shape that's both curvy and straight. So let's go ahead and delete this guy. And we have our pen tool, and we're going to click, click, make some straight, but then I want to make a curve, so click and pull. And then I have this curve here. Oops, sorry, curve here that I'm making. Let's say that right here I don't want it to curve anymore. I want it to be straight. So what I would do, one thing that I can do is press and hold the Option key or the Alt key and click on the anchor point. And what it will do is say, like, no more. It'll delete that handle, and you can create a new handle. So now I can do these like nice straight edges again. Another shortcut is to, let's say that I have this curve going on, curve, and let's say I want it to go back to here. So I have it curved, and while I'm still clicking and dragging, press Alt and then pull, so you can see that I can adjust the handle back over straight this way. And then I have to click one final time to complete that. So that's the way you can make a curvy and straight edged shape. So we'll go ahead and delete that. One last thing I want to show you is we're going to go ahead and draw a heart, and we're going to make a symmetrical heart. And what we're going to do is grab a pen tool, and we're going to start by drawing half of a heart. So we're going to start at the top and then kind of curve up and then back down if you're following. So we'll go ahead and click and drag because we want to make a curve. So anytime you want to make a curve, you're going to click and drag. Click and drag kind of towards the direction of the heart. So we're going to click and drag like this. And then we'll go like that. Oops. See, now I already forgot. Click and drag, pull to make it curved. And down. And so when I Illustrator is cool because it kind of guesses what you're trying to do. So here, see how that pink line up here? That's showing me that it's perfectly aligned with my first anchor point. So I'm going to go ahead and click. And now I have half of a heart done. I'm going to go ahead and hit, so it wants me to keep going. But if you want to make a perfectly symmetrical heart, so you could try to wing it, but it's tricky. So if you want to make a perfectly symmetrical heart, you're just going to hit V to end that. So go ahead and hit V to end it. So you have half of a heart. And V is just by creating the selection tool. So you could also just go up to your toolbar and hit selection tool. So now let's make a perfectly symmetrical heart because it's Valentine's Day. We have half of one here. So what we're going to do is we can do Command C to copy, Command V. The other nerdy way to do it, again, like I showed you in the previous tutorial, is to click on this and then press and hold Alt and then drag it, and there we have another copy. So there's two ways to make a copy, but we need to reflect this. So we'll go to Object, Transform, which is the first thing right there, Transform, and we'll go to Reflect. And we can hit Preview to make sure we got it right, but we're going to reflect it vertically. So it's like that. Hit OK. So now we have the exact same. It's perfectly symmetrical. And we'll go ahead and align them up. Now right now, though, there's still two separate shapes. So if we want it to become one shape, all we have to do is go to our Direct Selection tool, which lets us select a specific anchor point. And we're going to click and drag. Oops, sorry, my bad. I'm going to click off of it, and then I'm going to click. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. Should be able to click and drag over these. Here we go, like that. So we're going to start in the off area. And we're going to do Command J. And then what that'll do is join those two so that it's not a separate path any longer. So what I did right there was Object, Path, Join. Command J is the faster way to do that. Now it's yelling at me because I already joined them. So I'm going to go ahead and do my Direct Selection tool, select the bottom of this heart, do Command J, so I'm joining those. And now I should see that if I zoom in on the end of my heart, and use my Direct Selection tool, that's just one anchor point. It's not like two anchor points butted up next to each other. So that's what I wanted to show you there. Now we have a perfectly symmetrical heart. The anchor points are perfectly symmetrical. Everything's good. If you wanted to play around with it at this point, you have to use the Direct Selection tool to mess with each individual anchor point. So what you do is, you're not selected on it, grab your Direct Selection tool, kind of hover over until you find an anchor, and then you can kind of play around with it. You can drag the anchor up. You can mess around with its handle. Oops, sorry. You can mess around with its handles. Goodness gracious, I can't click it. Here we go, like that. And this is where you can kind of have some fun. So mess around with this. You made a symmetrical heart, then make it not symmetrical, then put it back by doing Command Z. So, all right, that is the end.